What's up and welcome to Caleb Smith TV. This is your friend Caleb Smith bringing you a brand new story analysis. Today we are looking at the second spooky short story featured in The Land of the Lawn Weenies by David Lubar. This story is called The Touch. Our main character is named Laura, and Laura thought it would be fun to go to the flea market with her mom. As a side note, I am a big fan of flea markets. You can always find some really nostalgic toys and some cool collectibles in those kind of places. But it turns out that the flea market that Laura and her mom went to is a little more boring than the flea markets that I'm used to. Everything seemed to be old and boring. Maybe more of a place for antiques instead of old games, airbrush tattoos, lemonade, and fried foods. Just boring old antiques. And the worst part is that her mom told her that she wasn't allowed to touch any of the items on display. So everything is boring and she's not allowed to touch anything. Got it. But then all of a sudden everything wasn't boring, because she saw something quite dazzling. A crystal horse sitting near an old lady. Since the old lady wasn't paying much attention and her mom wasn't paying much attention either, she decided to examine the crystal horse. With her hands, of course. I mean, she probably just wanted to make sure it wasn't broken. The only problem is, well, she broke it. Somehow, immediately upon picking this thing up, one of the legs just snaps right off. I mean, I wouldn't consider it a big deal. It was probably only like a $5 knickknack anyway. She did try to hide the fact that she broke the horse. Can't really blame her for that either. She didn't even really want to be at the flea market, and getting in trouble would just be a double negative. Luckily, her mom never noticed. But someone else noticed. That mysterious old lady that put the horse on display in the first place. Laura noticed that lady making strange gestures directed towards her as her and her mom were leaving. The horse had also disappeared at this point. Apparently, the lady raised her left hand and touched her left palm with her right forefinger, kind of like this. Really strange. There's a few ways that you could interpret this gesture. One could be that she was simply asking for payment for her broken artifact, pointing to her hand because that's where the money is supposed to go. But I believe that the way the lady was gesturing was with her left hand held high and vertical, kind of like this, pointing to it like this. Instead of like this, you know, she was sort of pointing to it like this. And also, she wasn't really pointing to it, she was directly touching her palm as well. Then the lady flung her arms wide apart, laughed, and started whispering something. Then Laura's fingers began to tingle. Now, I'm no expert in witchcraft, but I believe what we're seeing here is some kind of classic example of spellcasting. Just with the gestures the lady makes, the unwarranted laughter, the unsettling whispering, and the fact that she is in control of this crystal artifact. I know a witch when I see one, or read about one in this case. Now, it's not proven that the lady is a witch, but if you continue the story, you might come to a certain conclusion yourself. Laura and her mom make it home from the flea market seemingly scot-free. That night, before bed, Laura grabs her stuffed bunny rabbit, Mr. Hoppy. The incident at the flea market unsettled her, and she knew that Mr. Hoppy would make her feel more at ease. As she grabbed Mr. Hoppy, she felt a tingle in her fingers. The same tingle she felt at the flea market. Thinking nothing of it, Laura went to sleep. When she woke up, Mr. Hoppy was gone. She looked everywhere but couldn't find him. She was then distracted by a sweet smell coming from the kitchen. Her mom was cooking waffles. Upon touching the waffle on the plate and realizing she needed syrup, she felt a tingle in her fingers once again. After turning around, grabbing the syrup, turning back around, the waffle was gone. Alright, I'm calling it right now. She's been cursed. I'm not sure how, I'm not sure why, but Laura has been given some kind of reverse Midas touch, where instead of turning to gold, everything she touches completely vanishes. Let's see what happens next. So Laura starts freaking out at this point, trying to touch different things to make them disappear. Nothing works, however, and now she looks crazy. Her mom tries to calm her down and comfort her, but she made a mistake. She grabbed Laura's hand, and Laura felt the tingle. Her mom left the room, and when Laura ran after her, her mom was gone. Then Laura grabbed her own face and started screaming, once again feeling the tingle in her fingers. And then it's implied that she was gone as well. The end. So, alright, let's cut straight to some of the obvious things here. The law of conservation of mass specifically states that matter cannot be created or destroyed. So when objects or people in this story disappear, they are not just simply vaporizing into thin air. That would be impossible and against the laws of physics. We also know that they are not just simply becoming invisible, because otherwise she would still be able to hear and have physical contact with her mom. I would theorize that the touch causes people and objects to be sent somewhere. I'm not sure where that somewhere is, and that somewhere could be nowhere, which is very scary to think about. But I would say, physically speaking, if she touches something, the object would have to be sent elsewhere instead of just magically disappearing. Even though we can definitely tell magic is involved here. And how did magic get involved? Well, the crystal horse definitely had something to do with it. And if you want to look beyond objects, you could probably take a look at the lady that owned the horse. It's usually humans that have intent behind things, not objects. Now, I'm not saying that the crystal horse is innocent by any means. It's obviously a cursed object. But I don't think the curse was fully applied to Laura until after the old lady interacted with her, making gestures and whispering. I think that we can definitely say, based on the evidence, the lady cast some kind of spell on Laura, and used the crystal horse artifact as some kind of conduit for her spell casting. Laura touched the horse broke, she set the horse down, the lady gestured at Laura and whispered to herself, Laura felt a tingle in her fingers, and the horse disappeared. Sounds like a spell to me. By the way, the spell could have been negated if she would have just not touched anything like her mom said in the first place. That just goes to show why you should always listen to your parents. But anyway, if you don't believe me, you'll just have to read the story for yourself. The Touch, from In the Land of the Lawn Weenies by David Lubar. Thank you very much for making it to the end of the video. Make sure to hit that like button if you enjoyed. Until next time, Caleb Smith signing out.